So here we go again, back to back live daily videos. And you know what? I just mentioned in the previous video that I'd started a new job this week. And you know what? A few days in, I've decided I don't like it. So maybe this will be interesting for some of you if you're in a job that you don't particularly like. So, you know what? I'm going to talk through the process of now, what do I do with that? What can I do with that? And well, by the end, actually, what have I done with that? So let's kick this off straight away. So number one really was, well, it's like, well, really, is it a job that I can actually do? Is it something that I'm actually capable of? And if you missed the previous explanation, it is something that I can do. It's a field technician, so it's going on site, like to people's houses and businesses and fixing their computers that are covered by warranty under the company that, has commissioned me to do the work in the case of this job. So, you know what, I'm more than capable of doing that, and that's fine. So that wasn't a question. But, if you don't like a job, maybe that could be a reason. You're not actually capable of doing it. Number two then was, well, basically it came down to mindset. It's like, well, am I just being negative? Am I not being optimistic in looking at this? Am I just being negative Nancy or negative Nathan, really? Because that's me. And going, well, you know what, this sucks, this is rubbish, this is that, and all sorts of that kind of thing. So, you know what, I did consider that and looked at that and went, you know what, that's not it at all. There are some positives to the job and I can see those. They're just not enough to outweigh the negatives. So, well, then it's like, well, okay, then. So if it's not a case of mindset, then what's next? And then the next thing then for me was, well, really, and I guess this goes through the whole thing, is really self-awareness. It's like, well, okay, I can do the job, and there are some positives to the job, but there are negatives as well. So it's like, well, then in the framework of self-awareness, it's like, really, is this job then what I'm designed for, what I'm cut out for, that kind of thing? Basically, is it the question really, and one of the biggest concerns was is it using a lot of my potential or my full potential and, getting me towards my long-term goals? And I explained that part of the process of moving the business to the side, making that a side gig, and then returning to employment was to be in a company structure and to be able to see how larger organizations work and actually experience that a little bit. And as much as it did that, it still wasn't actually meeting a lot of the other requirements for long-term goals. And a lot of my skills were going unused and just, I wouldn't say undervalued because they just weren't needed for the job, but it felt like I was being underutilized for the job that I've taken. So I'm like, you know what, it's probably not the right term. It's not beneath me. It's just, I have potential to do more than this. I can do another role and help in a better way and do more with it, if that makes sense. Instead of just doing this, there's so much more that I could do to be of help to people, to an organization, to the world, really, and, meet more of the long-term goals and expectations that I have, that I'm working towards, that kind of thing. Now, on a practical level, this actually sort of came down to, well, because it's like traveling from job to job and stuff, and even though I've done a lot of that work, it was like the actual time on site was actually very short a lot of the time. So it actually ended up, well, at least to me, it felt like we were doing more traveling than actual work. And like when I was explaining this to the people that had hired me and, voicing the concerns that I had, I'm like, look, if I wanted to be paid to drive, I would have just gone and done Uber. So, that's a thing. And no, that's not a consideration. I'm not going to take up driving for Uber. But, I just put that out there. So then the next thing, then I think we're up to number 5 now, is, well, then what can I do about it? Because, if you're not happy about something, if you don't like something, and like this, I would imagine especially comes from the background of being a business owner and making stuff happen. It's like, well, then you do something about it. Don't just stick it out and just hope that it magically gets better or that things change, right? So you know what? I've done that. And so that was a process. So basically I spoke to the people, like starting at the highest level and working down, talking to the people that I had contacts with about this job that I've been in contact with. So team leader, hiring manager, that kind of thing, and going, look, I really don't think this job is suitable for me. So it's like, what else can I do? What might be able to be changed so that it is suitable, or something more that I'd like. And basically it came down to the question of, do you have something that I can do that's in a fixed location, that doesn't involve so much travel, and that I can actually get in and get the work done, and maybe something a little bit more advanced, a little bit more complex, that utilizes more of my skills, knowledge, and experience instead of feeling like it's all going unwasted. But basically, after exploring those options with those people, there wasn't anything else available. So then the action at the end was I quit. So I had a job I started on Tuesday. I trained for Tuesday and Wednesday. I was supposed to train Thursday and Friday as well. I told them on Tuesday morning and started going through the process of what else can I do. And then, didn't get an answer by the end of the day, but finished that day of training as well. Then was told, look, just take the day off today and talk to like the people, the powers that be, and figure out all this stuff. So that's what's happened today. And now it really is Free Friday because I no longer have a job anymore. And you know what? That's fine, because I've talked about this with a few people, and I actually have, last count, it was about 4 other options that I'm exploring. None of them are definite yet, but some are more promising than others, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, and all of those things seem a lot better than what I have now. So, and that wasn't just a case of the grass is greener. It was the grass is dead here. So you know what? I can still do business stuff because I've got stuff to do with that. And that will be enough for now, and that will keep me going. But you know what? It was a very important lesson that, just because you don't like your job, there are things you can do about it. And you know what? Maybe don't necessarily stick with what you've got just because you've got it. Although, you know what, in some cases, it can go the other way. You need to actually stick with things and work things out. But in this instance, it wasn't going to get any better, and I explored all my options with that. And yeah, like I said, I quit. That was a mutual decision, really, between me and the team leader. It's like, look, this is not exactly what I expected. I knew there was travel involved. I didn't know how, exactly hands-on how much travel there was going to be until I did the job. So, it was a case of I didn't know until I tried. So yeah, I don't know, take out of that what you will. That's at least the decision-making process behind it, or at least a lot of the practical side of the decision-making behind it. And it's been a very interesting and tiring week, because you would have noticed I did a video earlier in the week about being a morning person. That also came into consideration, because I had to be out the door at 6:30 in the morning. And, not being a morning person, that was not a good start to the day. But you know what? It was one of those things. If I need to do this to make this job work, that's fine. We can do that. But, yeah, preference would be to not to. But that just compiled, with all the other stuff, it just wasn't suitable. So you know what? It's been an interesting week. It's been a week full of lessons and, what's the term? Practicing some self-awareness and stuff, and taking action. And now that action is done, and now I'm actually going to end this, publish these 2 videos, and get on with actually working towards the other positions that I've got, the other opportunities I've got available, because there's some stuff I actually need to do for those. So you know what? It's not just a case of, well, I'll sit back and do nothing now. There's still stuff to be done. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you have a great weekend, actually, now that it's, Free Friday. Go and do what you do on the weekend. And I hope to see you next time. If you want to see more, you can like, follow, subscribe, and yeah, that's me out. That was a lot of talking. Thanks. Bye.